The US, Germany and France in bouncing back to pre-recession levels of GDP. We can take a look at how this has played out because, as you can see, during the boom years, economic output in the UK accelerated. By early 2008, it had reached its peak. Then came the plunge and the deep recession, a 7.2% drop between the peak and the trough in 2009. The recovery has crept up again at a slow pace before arriving at today's milestone figure. Here's what the Prime Minister, David Cameron, had to say.
I think thanks to the very hard work of the British people, we've reached a major milestone in our long-term economic plan. But absolutely, the work isn't finished yet. The country suffered hugely from the Great Recession, and there's more we need to do. And the most important thing for hard-working taxpayers, and we owe this to them, is to learn the lessons of the mistakes made in the past and not to recommit them, but instead to stick to our economic plan and make sure that we deliver economic security and a brighter future for everybody.
However, the Prime Minister's claims were rejected by the Shadow Chancellor, Ed Balls, who's claimed the recovery has come too late.
Finally, we've got back to where we were in 2007. It's happened 3 years after America got back to that level. It's happened much more slowly in this Parliament than it should have done, which is why the deficit's not come down as well. But I think for people up and down the country watching your programme, they'll be listening to the Conservative Chancellor saying the economy's fixed, that's all fine. And most people will be saying, well, hang on a sec, in my life, things are still getting harder. My wages still aren't keeping pace with prices. People are still really under pressure with the cost of living. And I think the question now for the long term is who will actually deliver the economic policy to give us long-term investment, good jobs, not low-skilled, low-wage jobs. I think the Conservatives are saying more of the same, and many people will say, that's not really working for me.
Well, we can speak now to Darshana Ubl. That's the Chief Executive of Entrevo. That's a business aimed at helping other businesses grow. Darshana, thank you very much for joining us. Now, in your experience over the time that you've been Chief Executive, have you seen this recovery in terms of the businesses that you're helping?
Yes, we work with 1,200 small businesses across Britain, and what we've found is through a Key Person of Influence program that the businesses that are with us are paying more in terms of, they're paying more in full rather than installments. They're employing more people, and the sentiment by and large is quite positive. Mind you, it's been 6 years of, slow recovery, Britain's largest recession, and the entrepreneurs, business leaders are really excited to see what's ahead, and they can see the market pick up quite immediately.
Darshana, in your experience, what sort of businesses and entrepreneurs, people, are flourishing?
The businesses we work with are small business and micro businesses. There are many self-employed businesses that have come into this pool, and that's increasing quite a lot. We specialize in making sure that we aid them with the tools of technology, the tools that are required to compete in today's day and age. So small businesses that are starting up or have been going for the last 6-7 years actually come on to learn more about how they can embrace this new economy, how they can go forward and grow their business. In the last 3 months alone, we've seen a significant uptick of where businesses have been, and the revenues have grown in most cases.
Well, obviously today it's being talked about as a milestone in the economic recovery, but there are things that are worrying some businesses. I'm thinking about inflation, perhaps also the strong pound, making exports more expensive for the EU abroad. Are these things that your clients are worried about?
You're right. Inflation is pretty much on target. And yes, there is always, UK is importing more than it's exporting. And the entire, what UK businesses really need to concentrate on is how can they export more. So yes, there are people within our organization who are worried as to how they can export things to different markets, but they're working on this. And it is something that in the next challenge in the next few years is going to be how can UK start exporting more to the rest of the world.
Darshana Ubl, thank you very much for your time. And remember, we'll be bringing you more political and business reaction to the new figures throughout the day, so stay with us. We're expecting to hear from the Shadow Chancellor later in the hour, and we'll also be hearing from our correspondent in Mid Wales, where the economic recovery isn't necessarily being felt.